Are you looking to get into motorsport photography, but you're not really sure where to start? Well, if that's the case, then this video is designed especially for you. My name is Jordan and I'm an amateur motorsport photographer. 3 years ago, I attended my first race as a photographer and had absolutely no clue on what to do. All I had was my camera and a lens. Fast forward to now, and I spend most weekends at some sort of racetrack using everything I've learned along the way. Now I want to pass on what I've learned to you, starting off with this beginner motorsport photography video. In this video, we're going to briefly cover what equipment you're going to need and the settings that you're going to use. Starting off with equipment. The first bit of equipment that you're going to need is fairly obvious. That is a working camera body. So the one I've got here is a Canon 6D. The reason I use Canon, well, I just kind of liked it, and when I first started to buy a camera, that was the first one that was recommended to me. When you are looking at choosing a camera body, the best thing to do is take a look at the different ones there are and see what brand that you quite like best. There's a huge argument on which camera brand's best, but I just think it's whatever one you prefer. And secondly, you're going to need a telephoto lens of some sort. One I've got here is a 70 to 200 2.8 lens. Any sort of telephoto lens will do. So if you've got, I don't know, like an 80 to 300, you've got an even longer one, it doesn't really matter, as long as you've got something that's going to be able to reach far away. Of course, something else to bring is batteries and multiples of them. I would normally use 2 to 3 batteries on any kind of race day, so it's good to have spares. And then of course, don't forget your SD cards. I've got this little pouch just here where I keep about 3 or 4, but if you've got one of like the 128 gigabyte SD cards, that should be fine for the day, but you just never know. Just best to take a few. And the final piece of equipment is probably more of an optional one. It is a monopod. I don't actually use the monopod on this one because it's actually not that heavy, but on my 150 to 600 lens, a monopod is definitely going to be advisable. Some of the bigger telescopic lenses or the bigger prime lenses are super heavy, and if you are going to be carrying that around for an entire race day, it's good to have a monopod on you. Now that we've covered the actual equipment, let's go over some of the settings that we're going to use. And now, because this is a beginner video, I want to cover just 2 particular shots, and those are going to be the front on shots and then the rear end shots of the cars going past us. I'm not going to talk about panning today just because I'm going to save that for another video. When it comes to actually just taking the picture and what we're looking for composition wise, because we're beginners, maybe for now let's just focus on trying to get the actual car in the frame in a nice decent composition, so right in the middle maybe. Over this type of shot, we're going to use quite a high shutter speed. The reason we're going to use a high shutter speed is because we want to make sure that what we're focusing on, the car that we're focusing on, we're going to be able to pick up as much detail as we can. If you were to line up this sort of shot and then you were to kind of go a little bit slower on the shutter speed, what you'd find is that you wouldn't actually get a lot of focus of the car. And for this particular shot, I think they look great when they're super clear and crisp. In terms of the other settings, the best thing to do is kind of work around that shutter speed, fill in the gaps where it needs to be. So in terms of the actual beginner stuff and the shots that we've talked about today, that is pretty much it. If you did like this video, then please give me a like. Let me know what you actually thought, and maybe there's some other more experienced photographers out there. Comment some other pieces of information that I might have missed off. It's going to be really useful for those people that are going to be coming to the video who want to learn a bit more. And of course, if you want to see any more from me, please subscribe to this video and come and take a look at my other social medias. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my first YouTube video. I look forward to seeing you next time.